On this day in history, we remember the remarkable individuals who shaped our world. Welcome to Who Died Today in History, where we honor their legacies. From artists to leaders, their impact lives on. If you find their stories meaningful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected.
Thank you to all our amazing channel members for your generous support.
Freddie Mercury died in 1991 from complications related to AIDS, a loss that resonated far beyond the world of music. His passing occurred at a time when the AIDS crisis was still heavily stigmatized, misunderstood, and often shrouded in silence. Mercury, known for his electrifying stage presence and extraordinary vocal range, had spent years keeping his illness private, a reflection of the era's harsh scrutiny toward those affected and the fear of public judgment that accompanied it. His death, therefore, became not just a personal tragedy, but a cultural turning point, exposing the devastating toll of the epidemic on artists, communities, and society at large. The immediate consequences of his passing were profound. Within 24 hours, Queen's music surged back onto global charts, and renewed attention was drawn to the urgency of AIDS research and awareness. Mercury's decision to publicly confirm his diagnosis only a day before his death shattered the veil of secrecy that had long surrounded the disease. His courage in that final act helped humanize the crisis for millions who may have otherwise kept their distance due to stigma or fear. In the months that followed, the band established the Mercury Phoenix Trust, a foundation dedicated to fighting HWOR5/AIDS worldwide, cementing his legacy as both an artist and a symbol of compassion-driven activism. Mercury's death amplified his legend in ways few could have anticipated. Already renowned for performances like Live Aid, often hailed as one of the greatest in rock history, his passing cast his artistry in a new light. The sense of loss intensified public appreciation for his flamboyant creativity, his seamless blending of rock and operatic influences, and the emotional vulnerability beneath his theatrical persona. His final recorded vocals, especially those on Innuendo and Made in Heaven, took on an almost prophetic quality, reflecting themes of mortality, endurance, and the desire to leave something immortal behind. More broadly, Mercury's departure reveals a great deal about humanity's relationship with mortality and memory. His death underscores how societies often struggle to confront illness and vulnerability, especially when they intersect with identity and public image. Yet it also shows how art can transcend those limitations. Through music, performance, and the ongoing devotion of fans, Mercury remains vividly alive in cultural memory. We immortalize figures like him through tribute concerts, documentaries, murals, and the continued celebration of the music he helped create. Each retelling of his story, whether on stage, on screen, or in the intimate act of listening, reaffirms the power of art to outlive the body, carrying forward the brilliance of a life that ended, but never truly disappeared. Udo Kier died in 2025 of natural causes, passing away in a Palm Springs hospital at the age of 81. His partner, Delbert McBride, confirmed the news, though no cause of death was disclosed. His death brought an outpouring of respect from the film world. Kier was beloved for his work with filmmakers such as Lars von Trier, Paul Morrissey, Gus Van Sant, and Rainer Werner Fassbinder. He had appeared in more than 250 film and TV roles, moving smoothly between avant-garde horror and mainstream Hollywood, from Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula to My Own Private Idaho, Ace Ventura, Blade, and Melancholia. Kier's passing closes a chapter on a different kind of cinematic presence, one defined by eccentricity, risk-taking, and a fearless embrace of the strange. His immediate legacy was felt in tributes from fellow artists and directors who saw him as a fearless collaborator, someone who turned monster roles into poignant, unforgettable human portraits. His death also amplifies his legend. With so many unconventional and genre-defining performances, Kier helped shape a countercultural cinema that challenged traditional notions of beauty, identity, and villainy. His work will be revisited by future generations as a testament to longevity, artistic courage, and the power of character acting. Reflecting on his passing, we see how deeply we value artists who defy norms and elevate the weird and wonderful. Through his art, Kier transcended mortality. His characters live on in cult classics, art films, mainstream blockbusters, and even video game worlds. We immortalize him through film retrospectives, game dedications. He was set to appear in OD with Hideo Kojima, and the memories of audiences who felt his intensity, humor, and humanity. In doing so, we remind ourselves that legacy isn't just built on fame, but on the boldness to inhabit roles others might shy away from, and to leave behind a body of work that continues to challenge, entertain, and inspire. Helen Gallagher passed away in 2024 at the age of 96, leaving behind a legacy deeply rooted in the golden age of Broadway and the evolving world of American television. Her death was attributed to natural causes, a quiet end that stood in contrast to the vibrant, high-energy career she had sustained for decades. Gallagher's passing reflected the inevitable transition of an era, the slow fading of mid-20th century stage icons whose work shaped the foundations of modern musical theater. She had been among the performers who bridged traditional Broadway storytelling with the emerging demands of television, embodying the adaptability and discipline that defined performers of her generation. The immediate response to her death revealed the respect she had earned within the entertainment community. Tributes emerged from the theater institutions, longtime collaborators, and fans who remembered her for roles in Pal Joey Follies, and especially her award-winning work in the daytime drama Ryan's Hope. Her passing prompted renewed interest in her stage performances, with archival clips circulating online and younger audiences discovering her precision, wit, and emotional control. In a medium where fame is often transient, Gallagher's departure served as a reminder of the craft and endurance required to remain relevant across multiple entertainment platforms. Her death also subtly amplified her legend by drawing attention to the resilience she demonstrated throughout her career. Gallagher had come of age in a demanding show business environment that required versatility and toughness, traits she embodied as both a dancer and actress. The fact that she remained professionally active well into later life reinforced her reputation as a performer whose commitment never wavered. Her passing encouraged a re-evaluation of mid-century Broadway performers, many of whom lacked the modern infrastructure of social media, but nonetheless built lasting impressions through skill and perseverance. In a broader sense, Gallagher's departure highlights perennial truths about humanity's relationship with performance, memory, and mortality. As with many artists of her era, her work lives on through recordings, surviving playbills, critical reviews, and the memories of audiences who witnessed her on stage. Theater, more than most art forms, is ephemeral. Yet figures like Gallagher are preserved through revivals, retrospectives, and the continued study of the productions they helped define. By honoring her through digital archives, documentary features, and tributes within the theater community, we reaffirm the power of performance to outlast the performer. Gallagher's legacy endures not simply because she lived a long life, but because she contributed to an artistic tradition that continues to shape contemporary storytelling. Lee Harvey Oswald's life ended violently in 1963 when he was shot while in police custody. The circumstances of his death, a young man accused of assassinating President John F. Kennedy, reflected the turbulent and deeply polarized era of early 1960s America, marked by Cold War anxieties, civil rights struggles, and a rapidly changing social landscape. Oswald's killing, carried out publicly by nightclub owner Jack Ruby, was an unprecedented act that both shocked the nation and amplified the sense of chaos surrounding Kennedy's assassination. It deprived the public of the opportunity to see a trial unfold, leaving many questions about motive, conspiracy, and responsibility unresolved. The immediate consequences of Oswald's death were profound. It transformed him from a controversial figure into a symbol of mystery and intrigue, fueling conspiracy theories that persist to this day. The inability to interrogate him in court forced historians, journalists, and the public to grapple with incomplete narratives, heightening mistrust in official accounts and government transparency. His death inadvertently amplified the Kennedy legend, as the nation focused not only on the tragedy of the president, but also on the unresolved questions surrounding his alleged assassin. The dramatic nature of his killing, a man silenced in front of live television cameras, underscored the era's fascination with media spectacle and the growing role of television in shaping public perception. Oswald's violent end illuminates broader themes about mortality, power, and memory. His life and death exemplify the fragile boundary between historical actor and historical symbol. The violent removal of an individual often intensifies their mythos, making them an object of speculation rather than a subject of legal or moral assessment. Society memorializes figures like Oswald through historical records, documentaries, films, and scholarly analysis, each attempting to reconstruct a narrative that remains inherently incomplete. In this sense, Oswald's death has ensured his place in American collective memory, not for achievements or public service, but as a focal point of national trauma and inquiry. Ultimately, the story of Oswald demonstrates how society negotiates the intersection of mortality and power. While death ends the personal narrative, it often catalyzes myth-making, debate, and cultural reflection, preserving figures in public consciousness far beyond their lifetimes. Through ongoing investigation, media, and historical discourse, Oswald's life continues to serve as a cautionary example of the enduring complexities surrounding justice, history, and memory. Florence Henderson passed away in 2016 from natural causes, specifically heart failure, at the age of 82. Her death marked the end of a life that had become deeply intertwined with American television history and culture. Henderson's career spanned decades, but she was most famously known for her role as Carol Brady on The Brady Bunch, a show that captured the optimism, family values, and social ideals of 1970s America. Her passing reflected both the inevitability of human mortality and the emotional resonance of public figures who had become symbols of cultural nostalgia. The immediate consequences of her death were felt across the entertainment industry and among fans worldwide. Tributes poured in from colleagues, fellow actors, and admirers, highlighting her warmth, professionalism, and enduring influence on television. Media coverage emphasized not only her iconic role, but also her contributions as a singer, host, and advocate for healthy living, reminding audiences of the multidimensional nature of her legacy. Her death also prompted reflections on the cultural significance of the Brady Bunch, reigniting discussions about television's role in shaping family dynamics, gender roles, and social norms during a period of significant societal change. Henderson's passing amplified her legend, cementing her as a beloved figure whose impact transcended her on-screen persona. She became emblematic of a certain era of wholesome entertainment, and her image as the quintessential TV mother continues to influence portrayals of family on-screen. Her legacy illustrates how public figures are immortalized not only through the art they create, but also through the collective memories and emotional connections they inspire. Rewatching her performances, sharing anecdotes, and commemorating her life in media helped ensure that Henderson's contributions would continue to resonate with both contemporary audiences and future generations. Ultimately, Florence Henderson's death underscores humanity's complex relationship with mortality and memory. While death marks the physical end of a life, her enduring presence in popular culture reflects society's desire to preserve values, ideals, and emotional touchstones through art, media, and commemoration. Through ongoing engagement with her work and the stories of her career, Henderson remains a living part of cultural memory, embodying the ways society honors figures who leave a lasting imprint on both hearts and history. Pat Morita passed away in 2005 from complications related to kidney failure, marking the end of a life that had become emblematic of perseverance, talent, and cultural representation in American entertainment. His career reflected both the opportunities and obstacles faced by Asian American actors during much of the 20th century, a period when Hollywood offered limited and often stereotypical roles. Morita's breakthrough as Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid series not only cemented his status as a beloved figure in popular culture, but also highlighted the increasing visibility of Asian characters in mainstream media, reflecting evolving societal values around diversity and cross-cultural storytelling. The immediate consequences of his passing were deeply felt within the entertainment industry and among fans worldwide. Tributes celebrated his warmth, humor, and dedication to his craft, underscoring how he had transcended the confines of typecasting to create a universally recognized and cherished character. Media retrospectives emphasized Morita's journey from stand-up comedian in minor roles to his Oscar-nominated performance in The Karate Kid, illustrating the challenges of carving out a meaningful career in an era that often marginalized minority actors. His death prompted renewed recognition of his contributions to both acting and the representation of Asian Americans, prompting reflections on how culture and media shape perceptions of ethnicity and identity. Morita's legacy was amplified by his passing, as Mr. Miyagi became an enduring symbol of wisdom, mentorship, and moral guidance. Fans, filmmakers, and educators continued to reference his work, ensuring that his performances remained embedded in collective memory. His influence demonstrates how art and popular culture can immortalize individuals, granting them a form of permanence that outlasts their physical lives. Ultimately, Morita's death illuminates broader truths about humanity's relationship with mortality and memory. While death underscores the fragility of life, the continued admiration for his work shows society's desire to honor those who embody ideals of courage, kindness, and resilience. Through film, literature, and cultural discourse, Pat Morita remains an enduring figure, reminding us that legacy is both a reflection of talent and a mirror of the values a society chooses to celebrate. Dodie Smith passed away in 1990 from natural causes, closing the chapter on a life that had profoundly influenced literature and theater in the 20th century. Best known for her novel, The 101 Dalmatians, which later inspired the iconic Disney adaptations, Smith navigated an era when women writers often struggled for recognition in a male-dominated literary landscape. Her work reflected the values and sensibilities of her time, emphasizing family, loyalty, and the whimsical yet incisive portrayal of human and animal characters. In an era of social change, Smith's ability to craft stories that appealed to both children and adults highlighted a growing recognition of the cultural and commercial potential of women authors. The immediate consequences of her passing were subtle yet significant within literary circles. While she had already achieved fame through her novels and plays, her death prompted renewed attention to her contributions, particularly in the context of children's literature and theater. Critics and fans revisited her works, celebrating the cleverness, warmth, and enduring charm that had allowed her stories to transcend generations. The 101 Dalmatians, in particular, became a cultural touchstone, its popularity magnified posthumously through film adaptations, stage plays, and merchandising, solidifying Smith's influence on both literature and popular culture. Her death amplified her legend by crystallizing the enduring impact of her imaginative storytelling. Beyond her narrative achievements, Smith's life illustrated the perseverance and creativity required of women writers in the early to mid-20th century, serving as an inspiration for future generations navigating similar barriers. Through her work, she demonstrated that literature could both entertain and provoke thought, shaping societal attitudes toward storytelling, morality, and the bond between humans and animals. Ultimately, Smith's passing underscores humanity's complex relationship with mortality and memory. While death marks the end of life, her creations live on, immortalized through art, adaptations, and cultural homage. By engaging with her stories, audiences continue to celebrate her wit, empathy, and vision, reminding us that through literature and art, figures like Dodie Smith achieve a form of permanence, preserving their influence and ideals for generations yet to come. Diego Rivera passed away in 1957 from natural causes, concluding the life of one of the most influential Mexican artists of the 20th century. Rivera's death marked the end of an era that had been defined by his vibrant murals, which fused social commentary, political ideology, and cultural pride. Living through periods of revolution, social upheaval, and global conflicts, Rivera's art reflected the challenges and values of his time, emphasizing the dignity of labor, indigenous heritage, and the struggles of the working class. His death underscored the fragility of human life, even for those whose creations seem larger than life, and highlighted the enduring power of art as a vehicle for social reflection. The immediate consequences of Rivera's passing were felt acutely in both artistic and political communities. As a leading figure in the Mexican muralism movement, his death prompted retrospectives and renewed interest in the social messages embedded in his works. Institutions, collectors, and governments sought to preserve and celebrate his murals, recognizing them as cultural treasures that encapsulated the aspirations and anxieties of 20th century Mexico. Additionally, his collaborations and public debates with figures like Frida and other intellectuals were re-examined, cementing his status as a central figure in both national and international art history. Rivera's death amplified his legend by transforming his life's work into an enduring symbol of cultural identity and social conscience. His murals, which depicted the struggles and triumphs of ordinary people, became not only artistic masterpieces, but also historical documents reflecting the political and social climate of his era. In this way, Rivera's passing shifted the trajectory of art history, inspiring future generations to view public art as a medium for both aesthetic and political expression. Ultimately, Rivera's life and death illuminate humanity's complex relationship with mortality, power, and memory. While his body ceased to exist, his vision continues to shape cultural memory, illustrating how individuals can achieve immortality through creative legacy. Through museums, reproductions, literature, and film, Rivera is continually commemorated, reminding us that art has the power to preserve human values, critique social inequalities, and foster enduring connections between generations. His story underscores the profound ways in which we immortalize influential figures through the lasting impact of their work on culture, society, and collective memory.